Is the snow ready? Det tror man altså ret meget på. Ja, derovre. Action!
The characteristics that we might share would be the fact that he's very personal, he's very private. I think he says what he thinks, and sometimes it's not popular, you know, and he maybe says the wrong things, and sometimes I can do that. Not meaning to, of course, you know, unwittingly, but no, I think not outspoken in a nasty way, but just, you know, isn't afraid to sort of say exactly what he thinks. I think I share that with him.
Yes. Oui.
And then the rest of it.
You're missing your girlfriend?
Be lying if I said I was.
She doesn't pretend things. She's what you see is what you get, and I quite like that. There's a lot of stillness in her character as well. I often have played sort of quite manic people, and she's nothing like that. She's much more calm and thoughtful. But she has an affair in it, so it's like at the beginning you would never have imagined this from this character. She seems so distant from the world and these kind of thoughts, but she falls in love, and then it just changes her whole life. And I think sides of her come out that she could never have imagined, and that's what I like about it. It's not pre-planned, nothing's calculated. It's just going with what's coming at her.
The one in the collar is a bit of a nutcase, but the older one is worth getting to know.
Hi.
This can be Wilbur.
I tell you what I love about Harbour is he's not working people. He doesn't have strategies. That kind of human interaction that's often, you know, you give me something, I'll give you something back, and it doesn't seem to operate with Harbour. Whoever comes into the bookshop, it's like he just naturally, it's not a considered thing. He just wants their well-being.
I think that's chewing gum. Just in your hair.
No. Maybe when I fell asleep on the bus.
I think it seems a fitting profession for Harbour. But more importantly than that, I think he sees it as a way to give Wilbur some kind of a step towards a meaning in life. Anyway, a step towards doing something, being involved, not just kind of getting lost in your own drama and stuff, but actually, look, we've got to. And I think that's why at the start of the film he's so insistent that Dad insisted that the bookshop was passed on to Wilbur. So, no, Dad wanted it, you know, you got to take it on. To give Wilbur a reason, to get him involved. So I think that's the most important thing.
I think Wilbur is very much in the moment, you know. I think he very much lives in the present, and although he is touched like every human being is influenced by his past, but he really is living in the present, whereas his brother, I think, lives in the past.
You know, it's interesting looking throughout the script for me as to why, when you're looking at why a character's doing something, yeah, it's been relatively simple with Harbour, because he's just doing it for Wilbur pretty much all the time. And if he's not, he's doing it for Alice or, and I think that's he wants Wilbur to have this, so Wilbur's got some kind of purpose, and they can be together. He can keep an eye on him, and you know, make sure he's okay really. So it's kind of perfect in that way. It's a good vehicle for Wilbur's recovery.
And Wilbur has this, he's in his own kind of world, you know, and he's in search of a purpose. And his brother just seems just too sentimental too morose for him, you know, and he just wants to sort of get going and find that purpose, you know, which will sort of help him through life. So I don't think they share any hobbies, or I don't think they have much in common at all, the brothers. But I think they grow to tolerate one another. You know?
Breathe, Wilbur, breathe!
It's such a touchy subject, you know. I mean, I think, you know, these people that, you know, that unfortunately go to these kind of extremes, you know, are very, very desperate people, you know, and some of them are very troubled psychologically, or and horrendous things have happened in their life, etc., etc., etc. And I didn't want to go down that road, you know. I didn't really want to make Wilbur this character who has all these things out with the world in which the story is, you know, trying to deal with his psychological state out with the things that are happening in the story. So, so everything that I came up against, you know, reading these things, was took me onto a different sort of road, a different world that's so complex, you know. So I've tried to sort of kind of avoid that, you know, and just sort of stuck to the kind of absurdity of it, you know. I read a good book which is called The Myth of Sisyphus by Albert Camus, which is basically an essay on the absurdity of suicide, and whether it is absurd or not. The absurdity being the difference between reality and non-reality, not absurdity in a stupid way, but that's just it. It's absurd, you know, the way, you know, that he can't face reality, so he goes the other way, you know. But it's a huge, big subject, you know, and I wouldn't like to speak down about the fact that Wilbur does these things so many times. I don't want to be flippant about it, and I don't want it to be just a glib call for attention, because I know these things run deeper. So I've tried to avoid that, you know. A friend of mine hung himself about a month before I started shooting back in Edinburgh. And like most people would say, most people who are close to victims of suicide, you would say he's the last person you would think would do that. You know, you hear that all the time. And it really is a case of that. You know, I think when my friend sort of reached that moment where he decided to do it, he was in a very desperate, you know, beyond the point of no return place, you know. And you know, it's a huge thing. But seeing him on face value, you know, meeting him in the pub the week before or whatever, you would never associate him to do that kind of thing a week down the line, you know. So I didn't want to make Wilbur the kind of person where you would instantly say, he hasn't got long, he's going to do something stupid, or he's, you know, he's like most cases, you wouldn't think he would do that. So you just try and keep it on a level of outers, you know, where everything, and then suddenly he tries this, and suddenly he tries that, and in between he doesn't look like the obvious suicide victim, you know.
Must have been hard going and playing a character like that.
Not really. I mean, there was one particular suicide attempt which obviously struck quite close to the bone. But no, I didn't. I tried not to think about that.